welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts, I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and on this episode we'll be exploring number 2 from Sports Illustrated's The Top 50 Sports Movies of All Time.
Alright, number 2 is Rocky, released in 1976, directed by John Avildsen, written by Sylvester Stallone, starring Sylvester Stallone and Talia Shire.
Rocky. Small-time Philadelphia boxer Rocky Balboa is arbitrarily chosen as contender to heavyweight champion Apollo Creed when the scheduled contender is injured. What can you say about Rocky? I mean,
it's a classic.
Not only is it a classic, but it's kind of the movie that like all future boxing movies kind of base a lot of their structure on.
Yes, a lot of sports movies base their structures on.
Yeah, a lot of, rags to riches, even like non-sports movies. You can kind of,
it's a hero story.
It's definitely a hero's journey story, and they can trace their DNA back to Rocky. Yeah. So I think, the thing I've noticed, so we've watched this movie, I think, 3 times in probably the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We were just randomly choosing movies before we were doing this. We were doing like top 10 lists. And, this one came up a couple times, so we watched it. I think I've watched it one other time, and then, we watched it again for this. Every time I watch this movie, I like it a little bit more than the last time, and I can't say I can't say that about a lot of movies. The one thing I really appreciate about it, especially spoiler alert, we watched the 3 Creed movies. On the side list, we're reviewing movies that for one reason or another didn't make it on their list. A lot of them were released after this list came out. All those Creed movies did, for example. This list came out in 2003, so you got like 20 years of sports movies, and there's a lot of sports movies that have come out since then. Plus other stuff, you're just kind of a head scratcher why it's not on the list. But anyway, after watching those Creed movies and watching Sylvester Stallone's performance in those movies, which I think is understatedly good.
It's really good.
And then coming back to the original one, like I'm not a huge fan of the Rocky sequels, not nearly as much as
I honestly really don't remember them all that well.
Like a lot of people really love, the Rocky and what's his name fight, where it's just like, I must break you.
Oh yeah,
it's Russian. Like, it's just like whatever. It's like total Reagan era jingoistic nonsense for me. But a lot of people really love that movie. But this movie is really character driven, and this is a really really good script. Like kudos to Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Basically, like, this movie is, it was shot towards the tail end of the 70s, 76, when, things are starting to die down. The big blockbusters are kind of on the rise again. You just had Jaws, and Star Wars is just around the corner. But this movie is quintessentially 70s filmmaking. Sylvester Stallone couldn't get parts in other movies because, he's got a voice pattern that's a little different. He's always, like, most of, his career, he's gotten kind of, people think he's stupid. If you've ever heard the man in an interview, he's an incredibly intelligent person. But, because of, he's got this voice thing, caused by, some stuff that happened when he was a baby. He's got little, like, partial paralysis in his, his facial muscles. This movie is, like, it's so well done. Like, like the one knock on it is there's a lot of kind of low budget looking stuff that happens in the movie.
Yeah, but I mean
that's guerrilla filmmaking, right? But all the character stuff is just, it's really really well done. It's like you get a real good sense of this guy as a person and not just as a, you kind of like, it takes him a while to find any worth in himself.
And it's interesting to me because, he was basically hired to fight Apollo Creed just to...
It's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick kind of thing, saying, oh, look, Apollo's giving this guy a chance, all that. Now, Rocky could have easily have dialed that in, right? He could have just been like, all right, whatever, got paid and went home.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid one way or the other,
but he didn't dial it in.
And he knows, like, in his heart, this is probably not a match that he can win.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something inside of himself. And this is like, even though he doesn't win this, spoiler alert for a movie that's, 50 years old, he doesn't win. But the thing that he has is the heart of a champion.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know how to not try to win. And that's what really elevates this movie. Is you've got, like, in a lot of sports movies, there's just kind of there's like a blissful ignorance, I'd like to say, about the characters, and we're gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, he knows, I'm not gonna win this. This is how I'm gonna win. The win for me, and he says it in the movie, the win for me is no one has ever gone 15 rounds with Apollo Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go 15 rounds with Apollo Creed. He is not going to knock me out. I'm going to be standing at the end of this match.
And he was.
And he does. So for him, that's a victory. And if this fight lasts 15 more seconds, he wins because he knocks him out. And he does. That's the other thing that he does. No one else has put Creed to the mat, and he does it twice. And
Creed's coach, he sees it. Mm-hmm. He's like, dude, this guy's not fooling around.
He sees it early.
Like, hey man, you better.
Yeah, like there's this news sequence, like, where they're, like, it's like a special interest story on the news, and Paulie, who is Rocky's buddy and Adrian's brother, he works at this, like, meat packing plant, and, like, part of Rocky's kind of non-standard training regime is to practice hitting on the side of beef. Mm-hmm. And they show him doing that, and Apollo's coach gets a real concern watching this guy, because he's like, this guy's not phoning this in.
No.
And this guy, he hits hard, and he's gonna put, he like, everyone knows he's not gonna win. He's like, he's not gonna win, but he's going to make you pay for your victory.
It's funny because it's like, for such a small movie at the time, right? It had this big, just huge score.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, the score is iconic.
Yeah. Well,
everybody uses that.
Well, the thing I love about it is, like, the movie immediately starts with it. Like, mm-hmm. you get like the full, like, I forget exactly what it's called, but
yeah.
And then
yeah.
Like how it, like, and that, like, that's how the movie starts, and then you don't really hear it again except for in the montage sequence, mm-hmm. where it's kind of, it's the music's put to a pop music, and then at the very end.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, like, it's too the montage.
Yes, the sports montage is effectively created in this movie.
Yeah, like, we have not seen a sports montage before that.
And then you got, like, like, I know you don't really care for the movie, but they do a hilarious parody of it in World Police.
Oh, okay.
Or,
gotta be a montage.
I mean,
yeah.
It's like, it's strictly,
But, like, how many movies have we had since then that don't have a montage in it?
Like a sports montage?
Not
many, because it's such... It's such an effective way when you've got, like, 2 hours of screen time to kind of mm-hmm. show this, like, progression of
like,
the character.
We see at the beginning of the montage, we see Rocky trying to get up the stairs.
Yeah.
And he's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going through all this other stuff. And then at the end of the montage, he gets up it easy, right?
Right. And you've got the most, one of the most iconic things, not only in sports film, but just in film in general, mm-hmm. where, he gets to the top and he throws his arms up and he's jumping up and down. And then, like, we were watching Creed, and,
mm-hmm.
There's the statue of him. So it's like life imitating art, imitating mm-hmm. life. Because that statue really exists after the movie. That's how she's like, is that a real? I'm like, yeah, that's a real statue now.
That's cool.
that you know got put up because that movie is so iconically, you know, it showcases Philadelphia in a pretty positive way.
Let's talk about his relationship with Adrian for a minute. So Adrian, you know, is very, very introverted, very shy. Her brother Polly talks down to her all the time. You know, she feels kind of worthless, and she works at this little pet shop. And Rocky, before the movie even starts, you could tell that when he's in the shop, he's already established this crush on her, right? And so he goes in and he buys like random animals from her.
And which is the thing I really like about it is how she totally doesn't understand it.
Yeah, she's like, "What? Why are you?"
And that's the sweet part about this story is that like over time, they both like, you know, like he says in the movie, he's like, you know, we got holes, we both fill holes, you know. So it's like, you know, he knows that she compliments him, and you know he is very, very sweet to her.
Very sweet, and she comes out of her shell after she's with him. You know, she does her hair, she takes her glasses off, she kind of feels more confident.
She stands up to her brother
She knows
she has like a partner in life now.
Yeah.
That will like have her back.
Yeah.
Which he does, because she is essentially says, "You want a roommate?" You know, she's just like basically just like, "I'm moving in."
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very sweet love story between the two of them, and he's, you know, just saying he's super awkward. They're both very awkward.
Yes.
And so his way of dealing with awkwardness is to fill the blank.
Yeah, it's very chatty.
Very chatty, talking about whatever. And she's the opposite. She doesn't say much at all.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of sweet to see them bring out good things in each other throughout the movie. And at the end, that's the first person he wants to see.
Which, you know, again, super.
Yeah, she's the first person he wants to see after the fight. You know, because she understands.
She understands that he won in his way.
Yes.
She's like the only one that understands it.
Correct.
She's the only one that understands that him going the distance is the win. Which is really great.
Yeah.
I gave this one a 76. Jerry also gave it a 76. So the list score is 76 for a movie that came out in 1976.
Pretty fitting.
Yeah.
If you have thoughts about Rocky, let us know. Please put your thoughts in the comments. If you like our channel, please hit subscribe and check out our other content. If you'd like to reach us directly, please do so at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But that's it for now. I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.